Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers, Mike even make the even news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Force Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up, and welcome on in. It's Last Call, and we are in the heat of March, baby. March Madness in play right now. We got conference tournament games flying around here. We already closed out some ASUN opportunities here. You know that's one of our favorite conferences. We've got a ton happening this week. It's going to be a fast week. It's going to be a busy week. We've got the NBA rocking and rolling, the NHL, and it's just going to be a ton of fun. You guys are at the right spot to work together to get this cash. Appreciate everybody dropping in. You know what they say? It's new week. It's new money opportunities. We got to get that cash here. Need a bounce back week after last week, but feel confident we've got the right team in place to move forward and get this money. Appreciate everybody rocking with us here. You guys know the deal. If you're just popping in, hit that thumbs up button for us. Help us crack the code. 6 p.m. We're the ones doing it better than anybody else. Nobody gives you line movements, unique trends, angles, analysis, and this community, this chat that is Pub Sports Radio, all looking at the scoreboard the same way, trying to get them winners. If you like what you're getting here, you're making cash with us. Oh, if you're throwing fades out there and you're making money off it, hit that thumbs up. Show us the appreciation. That's really one of the only three things that we ask you to do. You guys already know. We ask you to grab a pen and paper out there. You're going to want to write down the plays that we're sharing here, not just via the panel, but our chat. I mentioned sharper and sharper by the day. Love the community that we are building here all weekend long, going back and forth with a number of you guys about different plays in different spots. And that makes it so much fun to work together and hear different angles and trends that you guys are bringing to the table as well. I say the more you do this, the better the access to the information is that you get. And it's because of you guys and girls in the chat there helping us figure out the best angle of attack to get that cash. And then, of course, last but not least, throw your plays in the chat. We want to recognize what you guys are on as well. That's what makes this so much fun here. We've got head-to-head spots on occasion, but more often than not, we're seeing things the same way. We're finding games that maybe we didn't play on big screen here, but the chat itself comes out there and gets those dubs, and that's what's most important. So get excited about this week, next week as well. And then we've got Pub-A-Palooza 3 right around the corner. Can't wait to see the boys in person getting it done, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun here, but we got to get some cash to get that bankroll moving for Pub-A-Palooza. Now, we're a couple of weeks deep working with some of these offshore sites there to try to get the books where we need them to be for Pub-A-Palooza. And we got to keep going here. We can't stop now. We got to keep it rolling. Won't stop now. Hell no. Let's go. Shout out everybody in this chat already. I see Futon Bets. He beat out our guy Joe T here today. Futon Bet says over 230 on the Denver Nuggets game. Says, sup, buddy? Let's get this cash. Futon Bets, you the man. We appreciate you dropping in, sharing your play for us there. Joe T's in the house. There he is. There's my guy. Says best bet of the day. He likes that Cleveland State Oakland over 142. I think we're going to see some points in that game as well. I'm certainly on board. And there's Andrew Dree. I was reading the chat here, kind of pre kickoff, and I love it. We got some NFL updates. Josh Jacobs to the Packers, and then Aaron Jones let go from the Packers, or will be given his release. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay, maybe they want to go with the more ground and pound running game, and Aaron Jones just is too fragile out there. But I see the big one, Saquon Barkley. Say what? Saquon, baby, heading his way to Philadelphia. Excited about that move back in the Keystone State there. Of course, he spent his time in Penn State, and that was a lot of fun. Electric. Can't wait to see him in the old green and white. Let's go. And then Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. That is your update from the NFL and our guy, Andrew G. Appreciate that, Andrew G. It's certainly a lot of fun seeing some of these moves going on out there. And Nunya's in the house. Oldie says, what up, you dirty dogs? It's been busy, but getting action tonight. Let's go. You guys know the deal. And there's our guy, Jose Bouquet. We got a celebrity sighting up in the chat. Appreciate our guy Jose dropping in. Says Michael Money. Shout out to you, Jose. Great to see you. There's Little Domo in the house. RVD 420's in the house. DC Capper's in the house. He says Cleveland State under 144.5. On that Cleveland State spot for DC Capper. Joey Harp in the house. Appreciate everybody rocking. Winner Circle says, hey, yo. Likes the Simons over 21.5 points for that Portland Trailblazers spot. Kind of an interesting spot there. I had a hard time getting to the end on this NBA. Maybe it's because I was a little snake bitten from last Friday, but we'll see how that goes out. And then yesterday was like a complete opposite day for not quite the old reverse sweep Ramon style, but the NBA was definitely dangerous this weekend. So we'll see how that plays out this week as we move forward. Mike Wilkerson's in the house. Too many people liking the Cleveland State game over, scared him off of that. Hey, sometimes the best bet's no bet, right? You put that money somewhere else if you feel more confident about it. There's our guy Subhuman Gaucho's in the house. Talk sports with JT. Carol Jones says, new week, mo money, less problems. Best bet, he likes the Phoenix Suns -3 and -3 and first half. -3 and I think it's a half, first half. Oh, yeah, the hook. That's a hook. It looked like the flex sign. I thought Gerald Jones was flexing on us already. I was like, man, there we go. Let's go. Jay Peasy's in the house. You don't know. Jay Peasy wrote the intro. That's right. The best damn one in PSR. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't, because I'm not. That's how Jay Peasy rolls. It's great to see him in here. Paul and Boats in the house. Chris in the house there says, let's go, pimp. And there's Talk Sports with JT. Says Santa Clara first half +5.5. San Francisco first half +4.5. We'll touch on one of those games, of course. Let's go. Paul and Boats says, should get a ticket. Will all your plays? Yeah, why not parlay them all together tonight? I typically do that on the regular, just for a couple of bucks, just for fun, for when we do catch that board sweepage, right? DC Capper says, let's roll. And there's our guy T says, shout out to the chat. Smash the like button for our guy, the pimp. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. Bless our action with a thumbs up and gracing us in here on this beautiful Monday. We had a lot of fun with Medicate Monday. Dutch, Dab, and the boys out there getting it done. Razor Sharp and LJ came through there. Wham Bam in the house as well. Appreciate all them guys hanging out. I know you guys enjoy that show as well. Oldie says, Jay Peasy, Nanya, Gus Edwards to the Bolts. Maurice Buckner, I got $200. I need some bets. Well, you got yourself that money logo out there for your emoji on YouTube. Let's see if we can't find you some cash tonight, my guy. DC Capper says Cleveland State under 144.5. Mike Wilkerson likes that. Rangers Bruins, a little parlay for our guy, Mike Wilkerson. We're going to touch on those games. Kong's Clips. Devin Booker will be in the lineup tonight per ESPN. And there's Julian Cesario says South Dakota State money line, Montana over 146. And he's got a little two-teamer for us. So he's got the Suns and the Mavs, Pistons -4, and he's tailing razor sharp picks. Detroit, Charlotte under 217 out there. Love to see that. Of course, our guy at Razor Sharp Picks is running red hot, man. You want to be on board with this guy if you're not already. And Chris says, Mike, I like it. +500 if you do the alternate line 1.5 out there. Let's go, Chris. Shout out to you. Love you guys getting creative with those alternate lines. And I recall, I think it was Jared Bush had tossed an alternate line out there last week. That did come through. Came through comfortably. I think he adjusted it to -4 or 5. I think they won by 12. I can't remember the game. I just remember seeing the action out there. Kong's Clip says, my best tonight, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, 2+ 3-pointers out there. And our guy, Jay Smooth, helping you keep him smooth. You know it's so important to keep him smooth. The smooth balls play of the day is Arkansas State +6 out there. And then right back at it, Dana Delp says, James Madison -6.5 out there. DC Capper likes that. St. Mary's -10.5. And Joe D says, damn, let's go over Cleveland State. Good luck either way. I hope I win the bet. That's how I feel. Good luck on your bets. Unless you're against me, then I got to get my bets. I got to get mine. That's with all due respect. So let's roll on tonight here. We got ourselves a nice card, a tight little NHL package. We've got college basketball. I think there's just 14 games. And by the time 7 o'clock rolls around, we'll be down to, I believe, 12. But still 4 big plays for college basketball tonight. Very, 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 very excited about these college basketball plays tonight. And a couple of NBA spots with the prop. We're going prop parlay tonight. It's going to be fun here. We'll see if we can get that cash as well. And I'll tell you right now, full disclosure, really hammering away on this Dallas Bulls game tonight. So it should be a lot of fun to see what happens out there. I'm not sure if we're seeing the wrong team favored or not, but I do like to see some points. So there's a little foreshadowing to what's to come out there. But you guys know the deal. We got to keep it 100. Transparency is crucial. And Friday was a difficult day. Friday was one of those days where I got to be honest, like halfway through the card there, I just checked out. I was like, this just doesn't feel like the day. We opened up in the NHL. We went down that NHL card. We went 1-2. Not happy about the way NHL transpired, but let's keep a positive outlook here in the NHL. It was the trade deadline. It was a tight card on Friday, and we're starting to see now some of these players in full effect with their teams, including that the New Jersey Devils, New York Rangers play tonight. So look, we choked up on that Detroit game. That sucked. Colorado -1.5. That sucked. That was another L. They won 1-0, but damn. The Jets, though, came through for us. The Jets got the job done. Positive news, we had a little 2-1 in college basketball. We hit Ball State over 142. Shout out to Ball State. Shout out to Longwood getting their victory and moving on forward there. I know those are two of Dabby Cav's favorite mid-major programs. Then we went through, we got that VCU +8.5 spot. What a weird game that was, huh? VCU was smoking them boys at halftime, and then they came back and they almost didn't cover the spread by the time it was all said and done. But VCU cash for us +8.5. Boise State under 135.5. Didn't matter that there was overtime. It was a loss before it even went to overtime. So that's how you go 2-1 in college basketball. And then the NBA was just a cruel, evil temptress out there. The Charlotte Hornets +3.5. They just choked it away on us. Cleveland Cavaliers on the money line got us a win. And then we just took a bunch of L's after that. Memphis +3.5 was a show ad. Not great out there. Just I know a lot of you guys took that out with me here. I saw a bunch of you guys on it. I liked it as well. Orlando did not get the win, so our Banchero and Orlando probably didn't get the job done in the Lakers game at the end. Damn that Lakers spot, man. I was tempted to pull the trigger on the Lakers and the under, and then I just went with safe, and I went with the under in 227.5, and I took the L. So that sucks. Sports 7 day. Look, we're still over 50 units show date here. We're going to get them back here, and we're going to get them back today. So I'm ready to roll with you guys. I hope you're ready to roll. Get that pen and paper out because it's time to get busy, and busy indeed here. We've got ourselves, again, the NHL, college hoops. We'll close it off with the NBA. And JPZ says, I love not betting the NBA. Sometimes there's spots I feel like make a lot of sense, but damn. Friday was not one of those days. Mike Wilkerson says Lamar down to 7-5. I think they're down is what he's saying, 7-5. Kelly V says, heavy money just moved up Lamar to -12 at Bet Rivers. Lamar, let's go out there. All right, I got to see what's going on out there. Andrew G says, I know NBA is miserable now. I know, but I like it. I like it too much to take away from it. Got to focus more on the props to get it done out there. I do see DC Capper jumped in on that East Tennessee State +10 as well. And Andrew G says, I'm heading to the window with the Mavs. It's just a lot of peeps on it. I agree. We'll talk about some of those numbers. Futon Bets likes the Bulls money line, though. This is how difficult it is, right? Normally, we're all kind of coming in with that united front, and today there's a lot of back and forth here. But look, it's Monday. We're going to start this week off. We're going to do it tight and right as our boy T holds it down for us, keeping everything nice and clean. But we got to be mindful of this kind of trickery and fuckery that takes place in these leagues here as we move forward. Again, we're in roster manipulation season in the NBA. Fortunately, I don't care too much about those injuries. I think there's a lot of factors that are already baked into the line, so we'll see if that plays out for us as we move forward. But let's lace up the skates and let's get into tonight's card here, guys. Getting in here, hit that thumbs up button. If you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for dinner, trying to figure out what you're going to have for a cocktail, let us help you figure out what to put your cash on tonight. You take care of those other two things. We'll try to take care of this cash flow situation tonight and give you guys the best looks across the board. Chat, panel included. Let's get into it. Lace them skates up, grab that hockey stick, and let's get to the ice here, the frozen rink. And we're going to start off here. We've got 3 games in the NHL. Kind of a tight card across the NHL tonight, but that's not going to prevent us from trying to skate to the window with some winners. And winners we shall. Let's open this card up here. We'll talk right off the hop. First game on deck for us is going to be the St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins game, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a showdown. It's a battle royale here between these two teams. And a very interesting matchup here. We've got Joel Hofer going in goal on the St. Louis Blues side of things. He's mediocre at best. He's got a 10-11 season going, 2.88 goals against average, and 91% save percentage. The other side of things, though, Boston, big news in the Boston front. If you didn't know, now you will know. They were looking to trade Linus Ullmark, the 1-2 punch, the 2-punch of the 1-2 punch between Swayman and Ullmark in goaltending. They had a trade. It fell through at the end. They decided to keep Allmark on the staff. You can't ever have enough positive goaltenders in that lineup. Those two guys are fantastic. Swayman gets the nod tonight. He's 21-6-8, 2.44 goals against average, 92.2% save percentage. And things are not rosy for Joel Hofer right now. He does have himself a 3-game losing streak. St. Louis has a 3-game losing streak. St. Louis lost to the Islanders 4-2. They lost to the Devils 4-1. They lost to the Rangers 4-0. A lot of that kind of gave me the confidence here to look at this Bruins spot, specifically to look to a lower scoring game. We see the Bruins are on a run right now with 4 straight unders. They went under 6.5 to Toronto 4-1. They went under 6.5 to Edmonton 2-1. They went under 6.5 to Toronto 4-1. They won that game. And they went under 6 as a push on the 6 against Pittsburgh there just 2 days ago. So we look at this thing. We break it all down here. Road teams off the shutout. We know St. Louis just got shut out 4-0 to the Rangers. They're in a 30-52 spot. They're barely scoring 2 goals a game in that clip. And we've seen the adjustment here. The Blues are an under team. The Bruins are an under team. This feels like under hockey right now. We've got Boston, however, outscoring opponents. I wouldn't be mad at anybody that wants to jump in on this Boston side. I just don't know how you're going to get there. Is it going to be a -1.5? Mondays for me, those are tricky days coming in off of some travel for the NHL. They're kind of loading up for the week, and schedule's kind of sporadic, but I'm going to go to the under 6. I've got the Boston game under 6 here, just to be, it felt like, hey, 8 of the Bruins' last 9 games at home have gone under the total. The average total we're seeing in those spots is 5.75. There's a 6 out there at -120. The 5s are plus even money, plus 102 out there for the 5s at Bet Rivers, and DK. DraftKings has that plus 102 as well, but I'm going to pay up a little juicier to the 6. I want that push just in case it ends up being a 4-2 game out there. But I'm going to start this card with the under. I know JPZ's not liking seeing that, but look, JPZ, I feel like this is a lower scoring playoff hockey type of game. I see our guy Smoking 3 out there. Says Bruins -1.5 plus 110. It's the only other way I can see that game going. The first period, if you look at that first period, I was looking at some unders in there, trying to dissect it a little bit. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep it clean here. I'm going to rock this thing out with the Bruins under 6 at -120. Chris says 20 piece on -1.5 for the Bruins and -1.5 for the Rangers is plus 450. I like that look. You know what? If you're going to go for it, go big, man. Go big or stay home. If you're scared, they say go to church here. Kelly B says Boston in regulation as a parlay piece as well. I think we're all kind of in the same line there that Boston should get the job done, but I'm just going to go lower scoring here. I just don't know that St. Louis gets the job done, especially with this goaltending carousel. They're happy. You watch the way Boston goaltenders play. They do the big hug there celebration at the end of the game together. It's kind of been a staple now for the Boston Bruins. And I think we do see some defense. I think we see some goaltending, and that's going to open up our NHL card. Away we go. Rocco Rogers says, I like overtime here. I'm not mad at that either. I think that's a good look out there. Every time I hear smoke a tree, I want to burn a fat joint, says Andrew G out there. JPZ says, all you, Mike. I'll just put the Bruins in a parlay with JMU and Sanford. I know you didn't like it. Let's talk about this next game here. We're going to look at this New Jersey Devils, New York Rangers spot in the Madison Square Garden, the other garden. We talked about TD Garden out there in Boston. Let's transition over to the Big Lights, the Big Apple, and New York City with this New York Rangers spot here. And this is going to be in my JP special number 2, JPZ special. We got Kokkinen going in goal, 6-20-3. I was expecting to see Allen getting the pull here. Look, the big deal for New Jersey, their goaltending stinks. It got Lindy Ruff fired. There's probably a couple of things that got Lindy Ruff fired, but they go out deep. They reach into San Jose's coffers and they snip Kokkinen. They bring him over. His record's not great, but mind you, it was San Jose, 6-20-3 record, 3.81 goals against average, 89.5% save percentage. The other side of things here, we've got Jonathan Quick going out there. Old man Quick, 13-5-2, still remarkably quick despite his legendary career in the NHL. He's got a 2.45 goals against average and a 91.6% save percentage. You know, I was breaking this one down. I was kind of looking back and forth, and I thought to myself, well, what's the real consistency we see here? These boys got to play some defense. Again, these are playoff teams. I expected the Devils to be a playoff contender. They're on their way out of this thing, which is really surprising to me. But as we go down the breakdown, this Rangers team is playing a lot like the Bruins. A 4-0 win there against St. Louis. A 4-2 loss, but under for that Florida Panthers game. That 4-3 Toronto game, okay, that was in Toronto. That was a big deal. But then 4-1 win against Columbus. and a 4-2 win against Columbus. That was the little head-to-head, back-to-back spot there. The Rangers are playing as an under team. And surprise, surprise, so are these New Jersey Devils right now. You look at their last 3 games were unders. They had that Carolina 4-2, St. Louis 4-1. Man, everybody's beating St. Louis. It just seems like they're just the pincushion in the league right now. That Florida Panthers game was an anomaly. It was a 5-3 over on their home ice. They did take the L, though. Florida playing red hot. And then there's that LA Kings spot 5-1 as well. This one's kind of I don't want to oversimplify it. What we have with Kakinen, if you look at this guy, again, his San Jose record, not tremendous. They brought him in as the guy to fix the gap. And anytime you bring these new players in, you want them to kind of shine. You want them to build their confidence up. I had to imagine Kakinen was ready for a trade. He wanted to get the hell out of San Jose. That's a franchise that's going nowhere. And they're doing it really fast. In fact, they're probably nowhere right now. And they're trying to figure out how much lower can we go. And when you're in the bottom of the league, you can't go much lower. So goaltender's got to feel nice, fresh, and relieved coming out of there. He was a 4th-round draft pick in 2014 by the Minnesota Wild. And for this guy here to get this kind of restart now in his career, we'll see what he can do and how he can pull this thing out here. The first period's going to be crucial for this guy getting his confidence. The other side of things, Jonathan Quick. Plenty of rest for Jonathan Quick. He's only had 1 start in his last 9 games. And the big situation for me here was this Rangers spot. The Rangers, last 4 games against the Metropolitan Division, have gone under the total. They're playing playoff hockey right now, and we're seeing consistency in the under. Somebody had asked me over the weekend, they said, hey, if you're going to go through and break some of these games down, how about some looks for us as well on player props and things like that? So it doesn't correlate, but a guy that you got to put your eyes on here is Timo Meier. This guy scored a goal in each of his last 5 games for the New Jersey Devils. He ran hot at the end of last year, middle of last year to the end of last year. I expect him to do it again here. It doesn't correlate with this under, I guess, from the fact that I kind of expect the Rangers to pull this game off. But funny thing about that play for Timo Meier is this line keeps dropping on the Rangers side of things. So they're certainly suggesting that, maybe New Jersey's live. If New Jersey's live, it's going to be by strength and support of that goaltender out there. I like it. It's a plus 190 spot for Timo Meier if anybody was interested for it. Just a heads up on a guy that's been effective and productive out there on the ice and the Devil side of things. But play number 2 in the NHL, we got the New York Rangers under 6.5. Andrew G says Devils are going to play hard for Kakinen, not so quick. I agree. I totally agree that that's got to be the play. Seeing this guy kind of get his legs underneath him, feel good, and then he can take off. This is the time of year, too, where you get a hot goaltender. They can go deep into the playoffs, and they're down, but they're not out, that New Jersey Devils team. So this is a crucial game, conference matchup, and that's just where I pivot back to these Rangers in the conference. What are they doing in the division specifically? They're shutting teams down. They're finding their way to unders. They are an offensive team. They have found some production out there as well, but Mondays are quirky little days. Andrew G says, I want to hammer the Rangers here, but this line is fishy as hell with Kakinen in net. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do to get that one done, but that'll do it for game number 2 in the NHL. Let's roll on here. We've got game number 3. Sorry, I'm sidetracked here. I'm sweating out a little Sloane Stevens action in the Indian Wells women's tennis spot here. They're in the 3rd set. I see it's now tied 1-1. Stevens just has a break point. So keep my eyes on that a little bit as we go here, but let's move on down. It's funny. This is going to be this 3rd kind of triangle here. The 3rd leg of the triangle. We got the Rangers and the Devils games. We got this Islanders-Kings game now here. This 3-team, the tri-state area, the Islanders being that 3rd bucket. And they have been a bucket as of late here. We've got Ilya Sorokin going in goal at 22, 13, and 11. We've got David Rittich on the other side, 9, 4, and 3. Rittich had really a difficult situation going into this season. He's turned it around. Sorokin's 301 goals against average, 90.9% save percentage. Those are serviceable numbers. Those aren't starting goaltender numbers for what it's worth. 232 goals against average for Rittich, 91.4%. Those are backup and more than serviceable numbers when it comes down to it. We're going to go right back to the default on this one. What do teams do in the 2nd leg of a back-to-back in the NHL? Anybody? They lose, and they lose a lot. They're 471 and 217 if you fade that team in the 2nd leg of the back-to-back. Now, it's a little unique because Sorokin is coming in with rest. They did sit him yesterday, but Rittich is rested as well. He's been in there for 6 straight as a backup in these spots here. And the big one that I've got, unrested road teams coming in from the Metropolitan Division off a win, 2-23 in those spots. It's the margin that jumps out to me in those spots there. It's 1.98 goals on average in that 25-game sample. suggest an LA Kings -1 plus 104. That made it to my card at plus 102. It moved to plus 104. So definitely some better value here as we move later down the wire. In fact, let me just double check again. Since we're talking about it, if it is moving, let's capture the best number for everybody. And it's still plus 104 over there on Caesars, plus 104 for the LA Kings -1. Rittich looking to bounce back here. You know, we've got the Kings have been sitting on ice since Saturday. They haven't played a game since that loss to the Dallas Stars 4-1. Rittich has been sitting on ice. He hasn't started, as I mentioned, in 6 straight games out there, and he's coming off a 4-2 loss to Edmonton. So kind of just feels like the Kings have been sitting around all weekend, stewing on that loss, trying to figure some things out with the chemistry. They got fresh legs. They got fresh goaltender. Everything to me points to fade this restless team and take advantage of the LA Kings. -1 to close the card out. Subhuman Gaucho says Kings -1 is plus 106 at Bet Rivers there. Then we will take a look at that. And I'm glad you brought that up, Subhuman, because that's one of the things I've been looking at. I've been finding just some pretty good numbers at Caesars, but now that I'm seeing your numbers for Bet Rivers, I did notice this weekend that Bet Rivers put some positive spots out there for us. So I will do my best to start to incorporate Bet Rivers into that lineup. Andrew G says, I have a losing record trying to fade teams on back-to-backs. Not my thing. Not all fades are created equal on that second leg of the back-to-back, but this Metropolitan Division, especially out west, I mean, it just is this is a great intersection spot for that backup situation, rest versus restless teams out there. Swig says, I'm glad you brought that up, Subhuman. I don't know what I said, but let's keep rolling. Let's move on because we do have a lengthy college basketball spot here. Not often I drop deep with 4 spots in a short card, but I like what I'm seeing in this card tonight, and I can't wait to take advantage of it here. Subhuman Gotcha says Islanders have also been bad on back-to-back. Yeah, they're in an 0-8 spot, the Islanders, on their second leg of the back-to-back as well. So you got NHL teams as a whole are poor on their second leg of the back-to-back. You got excessive rests off a loss for the LA Kings on home ice. The Islanders have been floating around out there on the West Coast doing God knows what. Then you got the fact that the Metropolitans 2-23 in their second leg of a back-to-back if they're off a win. And you got the 0-8 spot for the Islanders. It's going to be a king spot for me. Let's get it done. Brian Smith in the house says Luka over 3.5 threes. And our guy Perky Bumps up there says, let's go JMU. Perky, I saw it. You're going big game hunting out there. I think you said you were jumping in on that money line, so I'm going to keep an eye on that for you there. I'm not so sure about Arc State. Julian Cesario says, Pimp, what was the prop parlay this morning on the sesh? I missed it too. I didn't write it down, but I do have a prop parlay for you guys. So I will do my best to find that, Julian Cesario, and then we will see if we can get it in the chat. Let's roll on. We've got 7 p.m. popping off. Before we know it, we'll be into the 7 p.m. slot. So let's jump in and take advantage now. Let's open this college basketball card up here. I just try to, look, I was like, do I go 4? Yeah, we are going 4. It's been a great college basketball run here this past weekend, moving into today. I like a lot what we're seeing here. Conference tournament play, kind of all butts are off. All the rules are out of the window here, I guess is what I was trying to say in that spot here. And we're going to start with this St. Thomas, South Dakota State spot. The South Dakota Jackrabbits, 20-12. St. Thomas, 20-12. What a fun game this is going to be. And look, I'm just going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. We can see, I forgot to break down the trend or the numbers for you guys. Oh, I forgot to break them down because there aren't any. We're flying in the blind here. We got 1,452 tickets out there. This line has moved from -1 to 2s, and we're starting to see 3s out there. So although I don't see the percentage of the bets and the cash on this South Dakota State team, we are seeing that they've moved this line almost 2 full points from the open, and we're seeing the total drop. So with that being said, 57% of the bets and 44% of the cash on the over. You guys heard me say it time and again. I love to correlate the unders to the favorites. Let's take a look at the money line because it is a shorter number. Let's just take a peek here. And we have opened up again. We're flying in the blind. We got no information, bets, and cash. But we opened at -102 for St. Thomas. It's now +135. We opened at -118 for South Dakota State. It's now -130. And listen, bottom line for me here, I like this South Dakota State team. I like what they've put together. When I look back at it, they did just have a St. Thomas game. They were at home. They were laying 5.5. They didn't cover, but they won 77-72 in that spot. And all they've been doing is winning. This is, however, that revenge spot. If you want to play that angle with St. Thomas, I get it. But shorter number, To me, this is the better team in the conference. I've been talking about these guys all season long as far as the guys to be able to go out there and get the job done. You kind of look at these numbers as a whole, kind of a split, I guess, and that kind of correlates with the numbers. But South Dakota State in the favorite role is rolling 15-8 as well. I'm on the Jackrabbits, baby. South Dakota State. I cashed with them last year. I'm going back to them. I'm going to the well again. I'm going to cash with them again tonight. Best number out there is still a minus. Nope, it's minus 2.5 now. Minus 2.5. Let me just double check here. Since I already have Caesars open, we know Caesars is notorious for dragging their ass in updating these numbers. But let me just check. I want it to be there. It's not there. It's now minus 2.5 at FanDuel at minus 120. Minus 3s at minus 110s. Actually, yeah, minus 3s at minus 110s. I'm going to take the 2.5 at minus 120. Give me the 2.5. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's a conference game, and it's a playoff game. These boys shouldn't just be rolling over, but I do expect it to be a tighter finish. I do expect that the free throw advantage that South Dakota State has will be enough here to knock off the St. Thomas team. Admirable finish for these boys in the season, but not enough to get it done. Let's roll on and keep it moving here. We got the high top sound for the college hardwood. We're going to move on down the line. That was a 7 o'clock start. As we continue to advance through the window here, let's move on over to 7:30. I tried my best here to make sure that I staggered the window because I didn't want to have, I just don't like having all the action in one particular window as a whole. Maybe you guys have heard me talk about that before, but game number 2 is 7:30, so a slight stagger in the window. Montana State, Weber State here, and we got a line that opened at minus 5.5. Reverse line movement, alert, alert, alert. 52% of the bets and 75% of the cash on this Montana State side of things. The line's gone from plus 5.5 to plus 8. You guys know when I talk about these numbers, we look at the bets kind of as a correlation of all of the soup. It's parlays, it's teasers, it's small bettors, it's everything in the soup. It's the cash that we want to be mindful of. Those are the bigger bettors coming in. The bigger bettors were pounding 5.5s. Vegas and the bookies said, hey, you know what? You like plus 5.5. You got to love plus 8s. Let's go. I'm going to take advantage here with this game. I'm also looking at this total. I see it open at 143. 71% of the bets, 97% of the cash on the under. I mentioned it's a tournament game. Not going to get too cute about going full game with this thing. I'm going to break it in half. I like the Weber spot. Joey Harp says Weber all day. I expect them to get it done. Montana State in a road situation. I've talked about this with CMAC just like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago on the Thursday shows. And not a great opportunity for Montana State when they're out there traveling. And in a strange little scheduling spot, Weber State and Montana State just played each other. Literally, their last game was head-to-head to finish the season off. And here they go on the turnaround March 4th. They've had a week to sit and ponder that last game. It was a loss. It was a Weber State loss there, 76-64, but it was an under. It was an under spot out there. And I looked at this game here, and I looked at that first half, particularly in the way this last game went. It was 64. It was 32-32 in the first half. I expect to see this situation be a chess match in this game here. The last game started slow. That was a game that I was watching. I was on Weber State. Started slow. That second half is where things opened up, and they went out there and they scored I think it was over 70 points in that second half. Now, collectively for these two teams across this last 10 games, their average first half totals have been 75. The fact that last game went under, this game's alarmingly under, and these guys are now both playing in under paces in conference tournament spot to me, having just seen each other. I don't expect them to go out there and stand and bang. I think it's going to be a defensive possession, chew the clock up type of situation to start things off here. Weber State for me in the first half, under 66. Probably going to be some glorious live betting opportunities there. Yeah, Weber, live betting spot there, Weber all day. Probably at halftime, we cashed this 66. You could probably jump in there on the over for the second half because history's shown between these two teams that things do open up when they're head-to-head in the second half. They play pretty competitive battle in those first half games. So we're going to go with the second play on the college basketball card. First half in this spot, and you know what? I've been trying to be careful. I mentioned this with these games. These tournament games, this next one specifically, 10 p.m. Eastern, has me on the first half as well. It's Portland State, Montana. I've talked to you guys about Portland State, Montana State, Portland, all these teams in this conference when they're away from home struggle. But we do have some cash flow information here. 10 p.m. Montana, -6, 81% of the bets, no cash volume, but 81% of the bets have moved Montana from -6 to -7.5. The total dropping We have 43% of the bets and 91% of the cash have moved this line from 146.5 all the way down 2 points to 144.5. Interesting little spot with this game here. And ultimately, the way that I chose to attack it is I want to just isolate the first half specifically because Portland State in a playoff game, you got to throw it all against the wall. If you don't go out there and win this game in advance, then you're sunk. There's no two bids in this spot here. They haven't played well enough at 17-14 to get an automatic bid. Montana Grizzlies 21-10 in the conference. And I like the offense here for Montana. Their offense, to me, it's a top 75 offensive efficiency program. We've seen the teams that have advanced in these mid-major programs have all been top 100 offensive efficiency teams. You look back, we just talked about Longwood the other day. They're in that same bucket, and it continues along. I can't think of the other one that's mid-major that just won, but that's okay. It's the defense that's the challenge for them. And, in the Big Sky, do you have to play defense? Not if you go out there and effectively play offense, but I think the defense becomes a bigger factor in the second half. These two teams just played as well, February 24th. This was a Montana victory, 82-73. Let's call that 2 weeks ago. Montana handled them, boys. The challenge that Portland State has, they're just kind of a wild card when it comes to the teams. Like the Grizzlies' defense isn't great, but in the conference, they're the second best interior defense. They're holding teams to just 50% inside the arc, and they're not allowing a ton of three-point shots out there. The fouls are the reason I don't want to mess with this game full game here, right? I want to be involved in this first half. To me, it's one of those situations when you look at Portland State and the way that they play, they don't really have a key man. They just kind of do a bunch of shit, and they do it all average. They don't do anything really great. They could turn the ball over as well in previous games that I've seen out there, but at the end of the day, for me, I just want this first half. I think Montana's the better team. This wouldn't surprise me, though, with this number and the way it's moved from 6 all the way up to 7.5 now, to end up seeing this be like a 4 or 5 point type of finish where Portland State plays aggressive in that second half. We've got 4s, though, in the first half. We've got 4.5s. Here's the thing about this number. With the second half, with the full game moving, they haven't correlated that yet to the first half. So we opened at 4s, some books at 4.5s, and we're still there. So this was kind of a calculated decision to say, give me this first half because this number hasn't moved while the full game number is moving. And I expect it to be kind of the opposite effect. I think it's going to be tighter full game on this one. That's going to do it for that third game in college hoops. Let's roll. Miles Johnson says, not scared of line movement at all. St. Thomas gets it done. Well, Chris Comatini feels the same way for you. So, Chris Comatini says, hard to beat team 3 times in a season, unless you're just a better team. We'll see. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch that one. Let's roll onward and upward here. One last game in college hoops, and it's the big one. It's 11:30. Maybe I'm a sucker for punishment, but I don't think so today. We've got San Francisco, and we've got the Zags, baby. Everybody's excited about this game. I don't know what you call this here. You call it the screw work on Tuesday. I'm coming in late. There's a lot of traffic out there. I can't get in on time with an 11:30 Eastern tip-off here. This line opened at 8.5. It has moved to 9.5. We have 62% of the bets, but only 51% of the cash. Interesting note, if I kind of correlate that, you guys have heard me talk about this. We've got a lot of newer folks in here as well. 62% of the bets is teasers, parlays, money lines. It all rolls into the soup. It's the 51% of the cash there where we're seeing some bigger bets have gone the other side and saying San Francisco comes back here in this rematch spot. I tend to agree. We've got 151.5 where the total open. It went to 149s now. We have a little reverse movement on this total, 73% of the bets and 78% of the cash. Again, conference play now. We're seeing teams have played each other several times in this situation. And the Zags hammered San Francisco in San Francisco. That wasn't a true home game for San Francisco, though. We know that was off-site there in the big stadium. 86-68, though. Bad loss. Nothing you can say about it. I was on San Francisco on that spot. It sucked. But if you recall, up until about the 10-minute mark of that second half, San Francisco was leading that game. So that was not their best finish at all when it comes down to it. They've got probably one of the best players in the conference and Jonathan Mogbo out there to get the job done. And he just needs to be consistent. They need to lean on this big guy in this big game. Now, do I expect the Zags to win the game? I do. But San Francisco and St. Mary's have built this team up in their last 2 seasons, and Zags haven't recruited the same as they have in years past, probably because of NIL dollars. So San Francisco's rolling into this one. They're 7-0 against the spread in non-home games when they're going against a winning team that's got a 5-game or bigger winning streak. We know that San Francisco's a physical team. I expect them to limit second chance shots, go out there, control the rebound game, and at least hold the Zags team down so it doesn't become a double-digit blowout. I'm rocking in on this, taking that 7-0 trend. San Fran plus 9.5 to roll along and give you guys a 4-pack in this college basketball card tonight. Kelly V says Portland State's a gutsy dog out there. Well, we will see. Like I said, first half for me, not full game. There's our guy, Earl. Earl Sports Bets. Nick Earl in the chat says, what's good? Happy legal North Carolina Day. Sports betting is live in North Carolina today. I can't believe it took him this long. I'm excited for you, Nick. It's going to be a lot of fun to hear the trials and tribulations of having legal books, man. You're going to be able to do some great line shopping with it as well. We know you do your homework, so that's awesome. Shout out to you guys and North Carolina for moving on into the 21st century, if that and then some here. Chris Camassini says, well, they're a dog. Londo says his best bet is Northern Kentucky. I looked long and hard at that Northern Kentucky game. I wanted to pull the trigger on it, but I've been fucked so many times by Northern Kentucky. I'm tired of it. I don't even want to look at that game. So shout out to you, Londo. If you get it done, I will be rooting for you. I just couldn't pull the trigger. Mel says took Winnipeg in regulation at minus 115. I like that look, Mel. Shout out to Mel getting that one done out there. Kelly V says at Miles, all good. Just a point. Tommy's better at home anyways. Good luck. Let's roll on, you guys. We've got the NBA here. We got a couple of spots with a player prop parlay. I want to give you guys time to get these spots in here. My favorite plays in the NBA card. Snake bitten. Probably the best way I would describe this NBA card for me here. Was not the best of Fridays. You know, it's funny because we opened up one of those days. I think it was Thursday and had a really nice card, but Friday hurt us. And I'm certainly still cautious and wary of the NBA, but you know, I guess the other factor I would look at is the daylight savings time too, right? You got travel, you got weird rest situations going on right now. So this is definitely like a freaky Monday type of situation if I was going to kind of pull one out there. I tend not to believe in some of that stuff. It's just the way this card's kind of been shaping up. Kind of thought that was the case here. So let's open this thing up. Let's talk about this first game that I'm involved with here. We do have an 8 p.m. start. We've got the Golden Steph Curry less Warriors. We know he rolled his ankle and he's out of this game. We've got the Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs on the other side of things, hosting this Golden State Warriors team. Of course, we know they just played. This is the second game of a back-to-back and a revenge spot for Golden State. 54% of the bets, 65% of the cash have moved in on this San Antonio Warriors spot out there. Shout out to Southtown 101, San Antonio, and Pubapalooza 3 coming up just a short week and a half away. Coming up before you guys know it, that being said, we are looking here at 2 weeks away. Sorry, 2 weeks away. We are looking at the Spurs side of things and saying, you know what? Actually, no, it is a week and a half. My days are all messed up here. But we've got this line dropped to 5.5. The totals dropped 4 points from 230.5 to 226.5. We don't have any action on the cash. We just have the bets. They're showing us 74% of the bets have come in on this one. And look, I get it. It's no Steph Curry. It's a big deal. We'll see what happens. Can they go out there and get it done? We saw as 12.5-point favorites. They lost outright by 13, a full 25.5-point swing to the San Antonio team. San Antonio, though, they needed that win there. That was their third game in a row on the road. They dealt with 2 previous losses to Sacramento and Houston. And as you look at this team for me, I'll keep it short, sweet, and to the point. We got this favorites revenge spot here. The road favorite. This is just like the hockey trend. The road favorite off a home loss when they're going against the same opponent they were favored against previously are 31-5 against the spread. That's got to be my favorite angle across all of sports because it fucking wins every spot that you have it out there. And the margin of victory isn't 1 or 2, it's 7. 7 points of margin on a line that's coming down for us. This seems like a great spot. Golden State, by the way, when they're away favorite off a home loss as a favorite, they're 13-0 in those spots. So not only do we have the revenge situation that's 31-5 in the NBA, we've got Golden State specifically in a situation where they're the road favorite off a home favorite loss, 13-0. No Steph Curry, no problem for me in this game here. I know Draymond's questionable as well. Let me just kind of scroll down and see if we've got any updates there. Draymond's status has been removed from contention here. So it looks like Draymond will play. Fuck him anyways. I got the -4.5 with this Golden State team. I think they smashed tonight. Revenge City for this Golden State Warriors team. And Nick Earl says Golden State Warriors team total over 115.5. The full game over 227. Small sprinkle on the Warriors plus 550. Highest scoring team of the night. My guy, that is that's turning your plane right into the storm with knowing the situation with the line. I like it. I'll be rooting for you to get it done there. I want the Warriors to go out there, kick some ass, take some names, and put them boots right to the ass to get it done. Nasty Nate says Celtics smash for our guy Nasty Nate in that Portland spot there. Let's roll on. Let's talk about this next NBA game, and I've got a player prop parlay we want to get to as well. Give you guys time to get this locked and loaded. Whether you play the parlay or you go individually with the games, it don't matter, but we still have another 8 p.m. start in the NBA. We've got them Dallas Mavericks. We got them Chicago Bulls. Lots of talk about this game tonight. Here's a situation where we talk about these cash flow stats, and you should take note. -3.5 for the Mavericks. It's at -3.5. You got 73% of the bets. You got 98% of the cash on this Dallas Mavericks team. Everybody's betting on the cash with this Dallas Mavericks team, and the line hasn't moved. The total, however, is moving. 231.5 where it opened. We've got 232.5s and 233s. Now we're starting to see some 233.5s as well. 38% of the bets, but 62% of the cash on that over. So this is a great example. Now we'll see how it plays out for this game. But if you're looking at this thing and you're new and you're talking about the bets and the cash and how does all this kind of work its way out, 98% of the cash is never a spot I want to find myself on. Just from my experience of doing this for as long as I've done it, everybody betting on a team seems like somebody's missing something. That being said, though, with no line movement out there, that's a big red flag for me if I was looking at this Dallas side. I'm not talking anybody off of Dallas. I'm just saying that's a big red flag that there's no movement. The total, 38% of the bets. So the public is pounding away. The 62%, the teasers, the parlays, the adjusted spreads. Everybody's saying under in this game. But the bigger cash has come in on the over to have 62% of the cash on the over. And the line has moved a point to a 1.5 in those spots. So if you're trying to figure this thing out with 21,000 tickets out there, they're saying that they're more concerned about the Bulls covering the +4, and they're more concerned about the bigger bets coming in this game going over the total. I'm on this over in this spot here. I got a whole bunch of reasons behind it for you guys. Let's start off by the hop here. Dallas against off a spread win as a favorite. 3-8, those next games out there. Correlates with that red flag I just told you about the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Luka, I get it. Some teams transcend the numbers. I'm fine with that. But in that same spot, Dallas off a spread win as a favorite. The next game, 10-0-1 to the over. It's the margin that's so ridiculous. The average we're seeing in those spots is 226. They're going over by 18 points in those situations. How do the Bulls do? The Bulls are 14-1 to the over. When they're at home versus the West, they're going over 15 points a game, the margin on those spots out there. The Mavericks, 9-0 to the over this season as a road favorite of more than 3 points in that spot out there. 9-0 to the over for the Mavericks. And the Bulls, 7-0 to the over as a home dog of 4 or more points out there. So we do see some +4s, and that did trigger this effect as well. I'm on this 232.5 for the over. It's -108 right now. So it's a modest juice situation for this Dallas game. We know the NBA has been going under. I was looking at the unders specifically in that Boston-Portland game that some of you guys are talking about as well. We do have reverse line movement in that spot, though. It's gone from 218.5 up to 219.5 with 63% of the bets and 78% of the cash on the under. So that being said, that's kind of how I look at some of these numbers. Everything to me has to correlate in this minefield that is the NBA. I do see this correlation for me with the total in this game. I'm going to jump in and take advantage here. I expect it to be higher scoring. I got this 232.5 at -108. And that's going to lead us on into this parlay here. We got this player prop parlay, a little fun to close out the day. It's a +523 spot, so a little over 5.25 to 1. It's going to be a little difficult to read, but I will share it with you guys. In fact, I will drop it in the chat as well. Line chop this thing out. These numbers are specifically from DK. There's some boots out there, so you got to manage your books and know where to get involved. Let me just get that in the chat. There it is. It's in the chat. Let's roll on. Let's talk about this game here, or this parlay here. So I told you off the hop, I'm focusing in on this Dallas game because I do expect there to be scoring. That being said, though, I fucked this up. Let me fix that. There we go. I've got Cade Cunningham, the Detroit Wonder, the Wonder Kid in Detroit right now. Not a game I jumped in on here. I know our guy, Razor Sharp, shout out to Razor Sharp Picks in his under. He's been running red hot. Not trying to get in the way of that, but Cade Cunningham's averaging 22.6 points a game. He's playing plenty of minutes. He's played 30 minutes or more in 8 of his last 9 games. And he's been shooting a lot. He's the shooter. He's the go-to. He's got 19 field goal attempts in 4 of his last 5 games out there. We don't even need him to be hot. We just need him to be average. His team, his points total is 22.5 and 23.5 out there. We're teasing that down to 20-plus points out of Cade Cunningham. We're going into this Toronto game here. We've got Olenek over 6.5 rebounds. A couple of things for this one to me. When you look at this, let me pull my numbers up. When you look at this Denver team, Denver's allowing the 7th most rebounds to the power forward across the NBA. And if you look at Scotty Barnes and Poto, they're out. Someone's got to get them rebounds. This should be a game. You know, Joker's going to go out there and probably do his Joker triple-double shit, but I don't think that doesn't dismiss the opportunity for Olenek. That's a double negative. That sounded terrible. But Olenek over 6.5 rebounds. Someone's got to get them rebounds for Toronto. I think it's going to be a game that we see some scoring. I lean to the over in this game, by the way. 67% of the bets, 63% of the cash. This line's moved up 6 points despite the injury news for or the player rest news for this Toronto Raptors team. So the line's moved from 13.5 to 15.5. I don't want any part of that number. Denver probably gets out there and covers this number because why wouldn't they? But to me, I got to go with the Olenek spot there. I love the opportunity to step into the position over 6.5 rebounds. Let's talk about this Dallas game. I got a little double dipper. Kind of correlates to me with saying I don't know about Dallas in this game here. I think Chicago does at least make it competitive. First and foremost, off the hop, I'm going to Vucevic over 32.5 points and rebounds in this game. Game where I expect the score to be flying high. I want this guy to be out there playing a little defense to grab some second chance opportunities, but going out there and leading by example by way of scoring. Another guy that's getting plenty of minutes. And, you know, when you look at kind of the defensive side of things, Gafford and Lively, I don't know. I think that Vuce leads the way by scoring to get the job done. And he should be able to catch a 5-6 rebounds to push us over that total. Then I looked on the other side of things with Kobe White. I'm going to go to Kobe White simply because this guy has been tremendous right now. You guys know what he's been doing from the three-point perspective. His total is also up there at 23.5 now. And we've seen that, you know, back in December, his numbers started at 18.5s, 19.5s, 20.5s, 21s. We're up to 22s and 23s. It's getting high. It's getting really high in that spot there. And I'm going to dial it back, and I'm going to add him in there as the teaser type example with the 20-plus points out there. I expect him to keep it tight. I'm not surprised that we see this team be a live dog in the Chicago Bulls, but on their home court, Kobe White's got the advantage here. I think it's a good opportunity for a guy that's playing plenty of minutes, getting plenty of opportunities. And again, his team within 3 games of Miami right now. So I don't think this is a cakewalk for the Dallas Mavericks. And I think Vuce and White go out there and lead by example for this little 4-legger. We got K 20-plus, Olenek over 6.5 rebounds, Vuce over 32.5 points and rebounds, and Kobe White 20-plus points. 523 action there. Little fun spot out there. I'm going to throw a unit on it, though. It's a small NBA card for me. I'm going deep on this one. Let's see if we can't get this cash and get it done, you guys. I appreciate everybody out there. Let's get the bow on the show and get you guys up and out of here. We got a big week ahead. Plenty of action on deck tonight, but we want to build these bankrolls and get it moving for the long stretch here. Shout out Kelly V, Andrew G, George Wood likes that Phoenix -6.5, Dallas -3.5, NHL, Boston Islanders money line parlay for our guy, George Wood. It's good to see you out there, George Wood. Andrew G, as I mentioned there, Pub Sports Radio. Get it done, you guys. Go out and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're watching us on X, migrate on over to the YouTube page out there. We got all kinds of things going on, live streams, live betting shows. We got plenty of shows all week long, UFC, NBA, college basketball. Our guy, Jimmy the Bag, Pete Loshak will be rocking tomorrow. We got free horse races out there for our gold subscribed members. Go out there, $9.99 a month. Become a member. Get yourself a shot, 2 shots, as a matter of fact, every week to win $53. Courtesy of the Dollar Jeff Slaughter, putting his cash on the line, gifting them membership forward. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. You already know we'll be back here tomorrow. Last call Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Good luck with your bets. Get that cash, unless you're on the other side of me. And then I hope I cash. But let's put it all together here. Shout out my guy T, keeping it all tight and right for everybody. And I'll see everybody back here tomorrow. We be pumping!